Yes.
It's Tuesday, 29th of June. We're less than an hour away from England versus Germany. But in the meantime,
Oh, really? I did not know that. I'm
yeah,
not a
uh,
not a football guy at all. I have to admit.
well, nonetheless, let's talk about something a bit more exciting. Let's talk about the new
Yes.
Space Chaser album.
All right. I'm down.
Well, the new album, Give Us Life, is just over 2 weeks away now. Um,
Yes.
it's been 5 years since the previous album. What was the reason for such a long gap in between albums?
It was, well, on the one hand, we went through a bit of a rough patch in 2017. We we were facing a lot of, a lot of things went wrong for us. Like we lost a lot of money because we had accidents on tour, and then when most of the shows in 2017 were not that great.
Okay,
Like we had, you drive 1,000 kilometers, play in front of 10 people, and you go back home, and it's quite depressing, and it kept on being like this, and we thought like, whoa, what's going on? Was that it? And then it started to kind of, everybody just got sort of this like everybody,
Disillusion.
yeah, disillusion was the word I was looking for exactly. It was just everybody. At one point, we would go on tour and think like, nobody's watching anyway. Who gives a shit? Then we started to, play a little bit like we didn't give a shit. And by the end of 2017, we had a serious talk. Like, okay, what are we going to do now? So is that it? Are we breaking up? Or are we getting the spirit back that we have had before? And yeah, everybody was back on on board with, we really want that. So by 2018 we started fresh, and actually this change of a mindset did it for us. Everything went better. Of course, we played better shows again, and everything looked better. So we started writing, and we released a split album with Distillator
Mhm.
in 2018, where we had a couple of songs ready for that. And after that, we kept on writing. And by the end of 2019, we realized how unhappy we were with what we've done so far. It was just not, always you can always tell from album to album that we got better in songwriting, better on our instruments, and just got a
Yeah,
little. And with those demos, we didn't have that feeling, so we decided to just leave that and start again. And again, that was a year worth of work, and we just scrapped it. So and it's and then finally in 2020 we had the entire year to write an album that we were happy with,
mhm.
and that's why 5 years is not a long time if you look at it like this.
I suppose so, but it's been a very eventful 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm glad you're getting back on the same page and working things through and everything like that because it seems to have paid off. You obviously now you're on Metal Blade. You've just released two awesome music videos, really awesome.
Thank you.
Uh, and I think there's a market now for metal music which deals with kind of like more science fiction themes, um, as opposed to like devils and shit like that.
Yeah,
Um,
it seems like that.
yeah. Um, with that in mind, how did the partnership with Metal Blade come to be?
That started out, a friend of ours who is doing our booking now. She was friends with one of the guys from Metal Blade, and when she told us, we kind of were joking when we said, like, please hook us up. It would be a great thing, because Metal Blade always was our first label of choice when it came to what level would you like to be on? And we always
Yeah.
would say like, yeah, Metal Blade would probably be the best for us. It's the most legendary and whatnot. And so she asked him, and he responded, "Yeah, I know those guys." Turns out he saw us live a couple of times. He liked us, and we were, "Oh, really? Huh?" Uh, so he asked, "Do you have anything new material for us?" And so we hastily recorded 4 demo songs that we have finished so far, and sent it to him, and yeah, it worked. They liked it, and they signed us. It was awesome. We couldn't believe it when we heard like, yeah, okay, cool. Really? Being in the middle of a pandemic and whatnot, we didn't
Yeah.
think that we had much of a chance. But yeah, it worked. It was great.
No, I think it's great, because thrash metal has been around for a long time, obviously, and I think Space Chaser is an interesting band because on the one hand, it's very much rooted in classic thrash. You can hear Slayer influences and things like this. But on the other hand, I do think Space Chaser brings something a bit different to the table. Not just with like the lyrical things, but just as a band. It's really interesting thrash metal, which is
Oh,
a relief because a lot of younger thrash bands now they just copy Metallica or whatever. So I think it's Metal Blade will be excited as well to go. Okay, we've got this our new thrash band. Considering they launched so many.
yeah, yeah. I also think it just makes sense. Oh, thank you very much for saying that, by the way, because that's exactly what we're always trying to, just we want to be like, of course, 100% thrash, but we have a lot of other influences. Like a lot of us listen to death metal or hardcore, and some of us are listening to AOR or traditional heavy metal, and all these things find their way in our songwriting, of course. So so obviously people you notice that in one way or another, and this is just the best thing ever.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Yeah.
It's your work that's made it happen. Um, as I mentioned before, you've done 2 videos, Remnants of Technology and the Immortals. Um, what were these like to film? Were these done mostly via green screen or white screen, or or were you actually able to go to a location and record them
There was
properly?
there was no green screen involved whatsoever.
Okay.
It was all on location. We uh, that was quite alright. When we started planning this video, we've started out with this idea that we have had lying around for a couple of years now. With this, we're a band getting beamed up into space and have to play in front of an alien audience. We were never able to film it because it was too ambitious. Just
Yeah.
if you take it down a notch, then it doesn't look good. So we always decided not to film it. But this time we said like, okay, you know what? Fuck it. We have some money because we gotten some. We applied for some government funding and we got it. So we said like, okay, we have some money. It's not a lot, but it was more than usual.
Yeah.
More than zero. And so we said like, okay, let's try it. So our guy who does our videos, he's also a proper filmmaker now. He started out as a guy on a skateboard doing skateboard videos, and now he's a proper filmmaker and has all these connections. And also, again, the pandemic is to blame because all those guys, the entire film scene was out of work
Yeah.
overnight. And so everybody got interested when he pitched the script. He was like, hey, I got this crazy idea about a music video. Who wants to be part of it? And so everybody's like, yeah, I would like to be, everybody thought like, okay, instead of not working, let's do something for my resume.
Yeah.
And so they all decided to help us, and nobody got paid really. And it got bigger and crazier, and we had these insane people working with us, and we're like, wow, what's happening now? So it got bigger and bigger, and all these things that you see in the first video, those were all built. Like it was a basement with nothing in it, And everything you see in there, the bar, the shuffleboard, the walls, the throne of this goddess or emperor kind of entity, and everything was built. That we had to build it in a week, and we had to take it down on Sunday, and by Monday nobody could tell that we have ever been there. And we had these costume designers lending us 50 costumes for free, just like, have fun. And we had like 30 or 40 extras playing aliens with us.
Yeah.
And it was just insane to do that. It was like almost like a proper film production with just a lot of fun. And we no still nobody knew how this is going to turn out, because we never did anything like this.
Yeah.
We were just completely overwhelmed with what was happening. And then we had to do some reshoots for the intro scene. We drove like 200 kilometers out, where one of the guys said, like, I know a spot, it's perfect. So we went there.
Yeah.
And we also did the shoots for the second video. We again took all the costumes, but this time in the second video, most of the aliens are just ourselves. We just put on some costumes and had fun in the woods. And we had some friends with us, as you can see, but like at least 50% of the aliens is just us having fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's how these came about.
Yeah. Very good. As for the title, "Give Us Life," where does this come from?
It's it's a song on this album. Obviously, and in that song, it's the story of the circle of life, if you will, like, but on a cosmic scale.
Yeah.
If you a star gets born, lives for millions and millions of years, but at one point he just blows up and he collapses into a white dwarf and takes every life in that solar system with him. And at one point he goes supernova and explodes, and again has spreads out all the particles, the building blocks needed for life, and the circle starts anew. And that's the theme of the song. And we thought it's quite fitting for an album title. When we thought about, we were looking for an album title, and yeah, we always came back to, like, "Give Us Life." It sounds powerful. The theme of the song is great, and it fits to fits the cover artwork pretty well. So we just thought, and also the entire world seems to be, yearning for "Give us life, give us our
Yeah.
lives back." So, like, yeah, we just stick with that. It's a very powerful title.
Absolutely. I think it goes very well with what you were saying about what Space Chaser has been through for the last 5 years as well. It's like, in that way, that Space Chaser kind of has imploded like a neutron star and spewed forth this new
Pretty
material
much.
and
Uh-huh.
new lease on life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. It's also interesting that you actually seem to know the science as well. It's not just sci-fi; it's actual
No, no,
science.
we are all big on. Of course, we love our sci-fi movies, but
Yeah.
we're all big Carl Sagan fans, and we're into the science of everything. Of course, none of us is an astronomer or a physicist, but we kind of. Actually, our bass player studied physics for a while, so he is the closest we have to a physicist. But but every one of us is just, we were kind of, nerdy about these things sometimes. It makes watching sci-fi movies that much more fun if you understand a little bit more. It can ruin it for you, but the
Yeah,
good
I was going
ones,
to say.
yeah, but the good ones are still quite enjoyable, or even more so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Did you ever see Contact, the Carl Sagan movie?
I haven't, but I'm sure Sigi did. It's a movie with or about Carl Sagan.
It's a movie written. It's based on a book written by Carl Sagan.
Okay,
So a fictional book. It's okay. Some people hated it. I thought it was pretty good. So
I will check it out.
yeah, again, it uses actual science. So it's
Yeah,
uh,
it's always fun to have these stories. But of course, I see how it's not very suitable for mainstream.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, you know, Star Wars. You have funny aliens walking around also.
Yeah.
And in on our record, in the last song, you hear a sample that was originally, it was a Carl Sagan sample, and we had a friend of ours reenact, because we couldn't use the original recording, so we had just a friend of ours. I asked him if he can do an impersonation of Carl Sagan, and he tried his best, and I'm pretty happy how he turned out.
Cool. You mentioned the artwork as well. The artwork's really cool. I like it. Who did the artwork?
Mario Lopez. He also did the artwork for our Split LP, and he does tons of other artists as well. He lives in California, I believe. And yeah, it was for us. It was clear that we would like to work with him again, and we just been, you know, bouncing some ideas back and forth with him, and he just did a killer job, I think. I love the trio. I love to have a tree of corpses on our cover artwork.
No, it's cool. I like you say, it has um, those really metal themes, but it's kind of like classic the 60s, 70s sci-fi in a way, but without looking dated. It's a really
Yeah.
cool artwork. Yeah. As for the recording of the album, was it a relatively smooth process, or was there a lot of restrictions because of COVID or anything like that?
Well, we had restrictions, of course. We were only able to get one person at a time into the studio, but it's the way you work anyway. So there wasn't too much different to how we would have done it otherwise. But we went in the studio well prepared. Everybody mapped out every note, uh, pretty much. I was able to really write out all the songs, and I had a, you know, note for note. I knew what I was playing, and I left space for improvising. That's always good for a drummer to have space, but most of the things were completely written out. So the recording process itself was the smoothest we've ever had. Sigi just killed it in the studio. He was done in 1.5 days. I did it in 2 days, and everything was just cool. We everything turned out exactly like we wanted it to, which was already like a big surprise. We never had that. Usually it always goes crazy.
Yeah. Well, just finally, then, obviously, like we've touched upon, the pandemic is still going on, and tours are touch and go at the moment. So, do you have any plans in place to help promote the album further? Do you have any tours coming up or anything like that?
Yeah, we had a tour booked in September, but we had to cancel it, obviously,
Yeah.
because there's still no shows over here in Germany. There's some stuff going on, but most of the festivals, I think every single festival we have had booked is canceled already. So that was our summer. We have some special events coming this winter that are, you know, some people get funding and are able to put up shows with just 100 people or so,
Yeah.
and we will do some of those probably. But all in all, I think we're not being able to tour properly before. We hope now March. We have our tour booked for March now,
Okay.
and we hope that everything is going better by beginning of next year. Who knows? But we're ready. We had a festival in Russia booked next week, but the numbers in Russia are going insane now, and Russia is one of those uh, high incidence
Mm.
places we cannot go, and I think this festival gets cancelled altogether because all the bands have cancelled. So they confirmed us confirmed to have us next year. So
Okay.
we see how that turns out then. But yeah, I don't think that we will be able to promote the tour properly before next year, which is okay. People have time to listen to the record a couple of times and know the songs by the time they get to see them live, which is
Yeah.
okay.
That's all right. It'll be funny though. By the time you get back out there, these songs will kind of feel old to you.
Yeah, right. We probably have a couple of new songs already, so yeah, it might feel weird.
Yeah. Well, Matthias, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me today, mate. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
No problem. Vielen Dank und auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen. Have a good time. Take care, man. Thank you
Thank you
for the
very
interview.
much.
Bye
Bye
bye.
now.